Hi everyone. Welcome to this presentation for EME 3351 on change management. I'm your instructor, Dr. Fred Baker. In this presentation, we will discuss change management, organizations as systems, levels of change, provide a couple of key models, and share some roles in change management. One of the biggest considerations in integrating technology into an organization is how to plan for and best execute change within the organization. This change is planned for, managed, implemented, and maintained through change management. To change something is to make it be different than its current state. This can happen quickly or slowly, minimally or drastically, and can have an impact that is only slightly or extremely radical. Change happens all the time in organizations, groups, society, technology, people, and so on. Change is important and inevitable. It can make or break an organization, and lack of it can cause systems, processes, and other affected elements to become rigid and fail to adapt to new situational contexts and conditions. Change is powerful, and sometimes change is difficult to implement, and it is an essential part of success in organizations. Given all of this, it is important to intentionally manage change. Change management is any action or process taken to smoothly transition an individual or group from the current state to a future desired state of being. Change management is proactive and involves all of the processes, knowledge, and practices that go into leading, initiating, managing, and directing change, especially in organizations. It is comprised of a number of important processes, key roles, and other considerations which have an impact on the realization of successful change. All organizations can be considered open systems, which are systems with dependency on and continual interaction with the environment in which they reside. This means that change efforts can be swayed by things happening outside of the organization. Additionally, any change in an organization is a systemic change, that is, one that impacts the whole system. This means that change in an organization isn't isolated to parts of the organization, it affects the whole thing. Together, these two ideas signal how far-reaching even small change efforts can become. Change also occurs at different levels of the organization. Change can occur at the individual level, the group level, or the larger system level, and each has its own set of responses to change that must be considered. The level of change has an influence on how the change management efforts are carried out. Additionally, change can be transformational, that is, infrequent change that makes a radical difference in the organization and is best planned for, or incremental, that is, infrequent change that can be gradual and often requires varying amounts of planning. Thinking for a moment on the different potential combinations of interaction within an open system, engagement with the whole organization, the varying levels in which change can take place, and the intensity of the change from incremental to transformational, it becomes clear why change management practice is so very important. There are a number of models describing how change management does or should occur. These models are important for thinking about the process of change management, as well as for guiding practices within change management efforts. I will describe two of the more common models here. The first of these is Lewin's often cited three-step process of change, which involves unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. Unfreezing focuses on identifying areas which need change. Changing involves modifying elements and making adjustments, and refreezing is intended to help normalize the changes into the everyday environment. This foundational model for change management has been tremendously influential over the years, perhaps due to its simplicity. This model is really more of a list of stages of change than a detailed map. Each of the stages undoubtedly have a tremendous amount of tasks associated with them. For example, unfreezing involves identifying potential areas of change, deciding on one of them, determining the best course of action for changing it, finding the best time, predicting affected resources and planning around this, gathering the appropriate resources, and so on. Once everything is ready, the organization would be ready to unfreeze. There would also be a number of processes and decisions associated with the other elements of the model. The second change management model we'll cover here is Kotter's 8-step change model. Kotter proposed that there are 8 important steps involved in transforming an organization. These are to establish a sense of urgency, create a guiding coalition of support, develop a vision and strategy, communicate the vision and strategy, empower employees for broad-based action, generate short-term wins, consolidate gains and produce more change, and anchor the new approaches into the culture. The phrasing of this model was updated from a previous 1996 model, and an additional focus on the role of accelerating change was emphasized in the new model. Kotter's model provides another framework to guide practice in change management. While there are more steps than in Lewin's model, the concept is the same. Each stage in the model will have a number of associated steps and processes in order to successfully complete it. The model provides an effective way to break everything into component parts and to think about them separately, while still attending to the whole change management process. For example, the steps involved in creating a sense of urgency around the planned change, technology integration in this case, would be different than those in creating a guiding coalition of support. However, both are important to the larger change effort. Each of these models provides a framework from which to think about how to go about carrying out change in an organization. Tying it back to instructional technology, if you were working to integrate a given technology into an organization, you may use one or both of these models to frame decisions and processes needed to ensure that the integration was accepted into the organization in the most effective way possible. These models would help guide processes involved in carrying out the change, influence how resources were planned and utilized, and shape what roles were sought in pursuit of successful integration of the technology. In any change management endeavor, there are different roles that people play. These roles are typically assigned, but sometimes people fall naturally into one or another of them. Some examples of these roles include the change agent, who is the primary person leading the change effort, change managers, who support the change agent in leading the change effort, champions, who are the organizational administrators who pave the way for the change through reducing roadblocks and ensuring resources are present, and opinion leaders, who are those strong personalities at any level who can sway favor to and from the change through their opinions and outspokenness about it. It is important to be aware of these roles and to ensure that they are filled by people who will support the change effort whenever possible. There are many other change management models out there, and change management is a field of study in itself, so it is entirely feasible to spend an entire career focused just on this one aspect of IT. Change management is a critical element in any change endeavor. That concludes this presentation for EME 3351. Please return now to the module and continue working through the content.